new channel, a new series, and honestly, something that's a bit new to me of making long form videos. So, what I'm going to be doing is playing a game that I've been working on, well, and still am working on. It's a game called Steam Revolution: The Age of Rail. And what I'm going to do in this series is basically play through it. I'm going to provide some commentary on what I'm thinking, and hopefully this will show like how things in the game work, how you can play it. And also it'll, if nobody watches, it'll document for posterity. For myself, I can be like, oh yeah, hey, I made that game. So my current thought is that maybe I'll make an episode of like a video per level. We'll see how that goes. In part, it might just depend on how long it takes to actually complete um, a level. So if that goes for too long or I don't have the time for whatever reason, then I guess I might have to break it up. Um, Also, so you know the state of the game, basically it's in beta testing right now, and hopefully it will release pretty soon. But if you're interested in the meantime, you can wishlist the game or join my Discord if you want to participate in any beta testing. Okay, so let's go to the actual game. So what I'm going to do is create a new game for myself. So this will be me. I be this guy right here. And I guess I'm not sure what I should do. I guess I'll maybe just read the things out that show up. So it's the year 1844, and the world is in a period of rapid change as the Industrial Revolution is getting into full swing. With the proliferation of steam power instead of human and horsepower, the degree of manual labor is decreasing while the output of food and goods is increasing. These are heady days for a young industrialist such as yourself. You have inherited a small transportation company based in Bristol. There are many opportunities to expand operations. With good fortune and ingenuity, you can profit. All right, so this is me speaking. Uncle, I don't know if I can handle the responsibility of running the transportation company by myself. Father always said that he was proud of me and that he wanted me to take the reins someday, but I never thought that day would come so soon. How will I ever manage without him? Here's the uncle. I know this feels overwhelming, that it's natural to doubt yourself right now, but you've been preparing for this your whole life, whether you realized it or not. Since you were young, you've always shown a keen interest in how the business operates, asking questions, studying every detail, and even offering ideas that your father himself admired enough to implement. You don't have to manage everything alone either. I'll be here to provide guidance whenever you need it. Trust in what you've already learned and take it one step at a time. You've got what it takes, and I'll be here to help you navigate the challenges ahead. All right, so those are some of the characters. They've made their introduction. So, starting the tutorial. You are currently in the world map, but there are also maps for the cities. Currently only Bristol is playable. Click twice on the town of Bristol to open the menu for the city. In the city menu, click the button Enter Level to load a map of the local region around the city. By completing levels of cities, it will make the city and industries within its region usable in the world map. Eventually, you'll be able to deliver goods to every city in the world map. If you want to see any quest dialog again, press the quests button in the display menu at the top of the screen, right here, or press Q. All right, awesome. So we've got our little introduction. So to see, I was talking about the world map. This is the world map. There are a bunch of different cities. As well, you can turn on the region display and you get an idea of what are the different countries and the different regions within the countries. So that's all a bit ahead of us right now. Let's go to Bristol. Okay, and we've got a lot of tutorial. So this will be a little bit of a slow start, I suppose, but this is perhaps the most useful thing that I can do in the video, is to actually show how you would do things. Alright, so this is the region map around Bristol. There's a city and scattered industries. Resources are generated at sources such as mines and forests. I can maybe zoom out. So here's a coal mine, and just move this out of the way. There's a forest. There's Bristol. There's a sawmill. Right. You need to transport those to industries to transform them into other products, and then deliver the desired results to the city, which acts as a research sink. You can discover what is generated, transformed, and consumed at an industry or city by double-clicking on it to bring up its menu. Doing this, you'll find that Bristol consumes lumber, that sawmills convert wood to lumber, and that wood is generated from forests. Okay, so I can close this dialog and check out what it says. Okay, so here's Bristol. And you can see that it takes lumber as an input, and that generates completion. Yeah, so you need this to complete the level. Okay. And the sawmill, there are different things. There's multiple different types of conversions they'll do, but you can see that the simplest here is 4 wood to 2 lumber. That's the one that's relevant to us. There's also, if you were to bring coal and wood, then that produces 3 lumber. So you can see that that is a better ratio. You get more lumber for the same number of resources, right? It's like 1 coal plus 3 wood, that's 4 resources, gives you 3 lumber, versus 4 woods give you 2 lumber, right? So that's more efficient. And same thing here, if you have oil, which is a scarcer resource, then you get, you only need 2 wood to get the 3 lumber. And if you have mechanisms, then you get 4 lumber. So you can see how like the scaling works, that the more complex or scarce the resources are, the better they are. And then here you can see from the forest that if you have nothing given to it, that it just generates wood. So this is just a source of resources. But if you bring coal, then it'll produce wood faster. If you bring farming tools, then it'll produce wood even faster. Okay, awesome. Right, so, oh, by the way, I was clicking next, but you can just click over here as well. So, before going any farther, we need to talk about how tracks work. There is a distinction between straight and curved track segments. Straight segments are colored brown, and curved segments are colored gray. So here you can see that the brown ones are straight, and the curved ones are gray. You can see there's a distinction. Like there's a join between a gray and a brown. Ends of tracks must always be straight. So here's an end of a track, and here's another end of a track. And curves must always be connected to straight segments on both sides, so that both the position and direction of the ends of the curve are known. Right? So basically the curves are Bezier curves, and they connect to straight segments, and so as to define both a position that they connect at and the direction. Right? So maybe too much detail here, but if you have a cubic Bezier that has 4 degrees of freedom, so you need to have 4 constraints. So 2 position constraints and 2 derivative constraints, a total of 4 constraints, and that fully defines a cubic curve. Thus, tracks will alternate between curved and straight. When you're drawing a track, you don't have to specify if you want to curve or not, because it's implicit from what the last connected segment was, right? What that means is just that, so let's draw something here. That if I start drawing and make a straight segment, then the next one is gray, is going to be a curve. And then the next one is straight, right? So it's alternating. Then I can connect it somewhere else, or I can draw it. So So you see how you can make things. And you can just exit the track drawing. Oh, by the way, I'm going to generally use keyboard shortcuts. So T does that, but you could instead do with the button and draw like that. Then get out by clicking again. Okay. So let's do all that. Oh, and so when you're drawing a track, you don't have to specify if you want a curve or not, because it's implicit from what the last connected segment was. Okay. Where did I stop reading? If you start drawing by clicking the end of a straight segment, then a curve will extend from that segment in your next click. Okay, so if you already have a straight segment, like this, I can click on it again to start drawing, and then the next piece is going to be curved because I had started from a straight. And you can also say, for example, if you have two straight segments, you could connect them like that. Or alternately, if you have a straight and you have a straight, you can have any number of other things in between, like that. That's clear. Yeah, sort of just explaining all the details of how the editing actually works. So note that it's possible for a gray curve segment to happen to appear straight if both of the segments it connects to are collinear. Right, so what that means is that, or I'll just keep reading. Curviness is not a description of the current shape of a segment, but rather defines what shapes the segment could have. A straight segment is fully defined by itself, and a curved segment is defined by the segments it connects to. So what that means is that if I draw like this, all these are straight. They're straight. But this gray one here has the freedom to be curved. Right? So if I were to move this vertex here, then this had the freedom to be curved. And so it does curve. Note that you can undo actions by pressing Control Z and redo that by pressing Control Y. So I'll just do that. Control Z. Whoops. There it goes straight again. Undo, undo, undo. Okay, we're back to where we started. First, let's construct a station next to a forest. Build platforms next to a forest as shown in the image to the right, this picture here. Do this by clicking the platform button or pressing E, then clicking on the squares. When you're done placing platform piles, toggle the drawing mode off by pressing a button again or pressing escape. Platforms are used by workers to carry goods between trains and industries. In this case, workers will carry wood from the forest to the train cars. In addition to being used in industry, wood is a fuel for wood-burning engines that periodically need their tenders to be refilled. All right. So let's bring up our quest, and maybe I can draw it exactly the same way. It's not actually necessary, but just for the sake of doing exactly what it tells me to. But if I show a little arrow, like you can press this thing instead of using the shortcut. And if you hover over anything, it brings up a little pop-up. So I could alternately have done that way. And I'll just undo that because I don't actually want platforms in the middle of nowhere. All right. Next. Follow the same steps to build a platform next to the sawmill so that the wood can be unloaded. Okay, so let's look out. I happen to know the sawmill is over here. And I can make this go away if I want to. I don't have to draw with it open. Okay, done. Now that the platforms are built, connect the platforms with rail lines. To toggle track drawing mode, click the track icon, shown by the red arrow here, or press T. Don't drag the mouse with the button pressed, but rather use single clicks. So just click, click. to draw the endpoints. Click once for the start point and once for the end point to create a straight segment of track. If you click again, it will create a curve segment. We just went into a lot of detail about that already. The shape of the curve is not defined until you click again to create another straight segment. And so what I mean by that is, obviously I was the person who wrote the details, so I mean by what I wrote by that. So if you draw a straight segment, you see that something is drawn of a curve, but that's not finalized because we don't know what the last, the next thing that's going to connect to is, right? So it has to do something. So there's some sort of curve it makes. But once you actually click down and have your straight segment, then you know how the curve will actually look. That's what's defining that curve, right? So don't worry about exactly how it looks until you create the straight segment it will connect to, is all that's saying. Okay, so let's try and make that look kind of similar. If you make any mistakes while drawing, you can select endpoints of the track and drag them to new locations. Right, so I can drag this wherever. I'm not stuck with whatever I drew in the first place. You can also select whole segments by clicking the middle of the track. So if I click here, I can move the whole segment around. You can also hold shift while clicking to select more than one thing, or draw a box to select multiple objects. So I could draw a box and move all of this around instead of doing it one by one. Notice how in the picture I've highlighted a short curved section of track. It's often best to have short curves act as flexible joints between longer straight sections, right? So what that's saying is that, say that we are going to have another platform over here at Bristol, that you want to have things look like this, where there's a long straight thing between, probably. It may be tempting to do something else, like just have a big curvy thing between. But that's going to, in the end, probably not be as good. It's going to be harder to maintain. The curve's going to go sort of weird ways. And it's going to go actually a longer distance. Like if you look at the distance of that curve versus if I were to make something like that, like you can see that the long curve is actually a longer distance. So it'll take the train longer to go along it. So, yeah. Okay, so build a train depot for a train to come out of. To do this, create a short piece of track shown as shown. To build a track, turn on track drawing mode, then click on the end of the train station segment that you want to attach it to. Click 2 more times to create the curve and the final track segment. I've highlighted the curve segment to show that there is a short straight segment that is attached to it on the terminal end. To build the actual depot, click the depot button pointed to by the arrow, or press D, and click once on the end of the short track you just created. If you place the depot correctly, it will snap to align with the track. If it's in the wrong position, you can move it to the end of the track by clicking it once to select it, then drag the depot to where you want it. Okay, so let's make a little depot. So basically just create a little offshoot like this. And to match how I did in the, where I can move it a little bit. And then you can put a depot. And look, so the depot, if it's not attached to anything, it's got some default alignment. But when you put it onto a track, it will snap to the direction that the track is. That's what that was saying. So you can put it somewhere else, you can move it to where you need it, and it should work. Click twice on the depot to bring up the design for the trains that come out of the depot. Okay, let's do that. I had already clicked on it once, so it's like once it's selected, if you click again, then it'll pop up the menu. We built our station with 4 platform tiles, so we should also have 4 loadable cars. Every engine has an implicitly attached tender that carries its fuel. So if you look, here's the engine, here's the tender. And also would carry water, but we're not worried about the water in this game. We just consider the fuel. So I need to add 3 additional cars for carrying wood. You can add those by clicking the button for the wood car 3 times. 1, 2, 3. There we go. If you make a mistake, you can remove cars by clicking on them in the picture of the train, or click the Clear Cars button. So you highlight the car, it's red, you click it, and it disappears. And then you can add it. It always adds them to the end, so if you have like some crazier setup of the cars, at least at the moment, you just have to like basically clear it and React, that you can't move them around. Maybe I could change it in the future. If you wish, you can name your train or set the colors of the route. If no name is set, the name defaults to the list of cargoes carried. You can also specify more than one train to be created, but don't do that now because it will cause problems. When you're done, close this dialog. You can also press Escape to close all opening dialogues if the screen is too cluttered. I have a typo there. It should be can. Well. So there we've got our train set up. We can extend. Oh, I think I was supposed to have built a. Oh, I already did. So let's bring our track closer over there. So we can extend the station next to the sawmill to have a second platform. So let's first finish our first platform. That might be a good idea. First, create a set of 4 platform tiles on the other side of the track. The new platforms can then be connected to the other platforms by creating a bridge for the workers to be able to walk over. You can do this by clicking on the platform bridge icon pointed to the right by the arrow here. Or I should say here, this guy here. Click once on a tile between the platforms, so a bridge will be created. Okay, so let's create the platform. So let's do it through the menu. Just for a change here. Click that. As I said, I normally would use the keyboard shortcuts to do it. So now we've got our bridge and our other platform. We can make the train that visits the second platform run on a totally separate track. However, for that train to get fuel, we need to supply it with fuel from the first train that we built. We can do that by placing a resource silo along the platform. Build a silo by clicking on the resource silo button. In another typo, pointed to by the arrow, or pressing R. Then click where you want it to be built. Okay, so let's put it here, as I showed in the picture. Silos hold wood by default, but that can be changed to by double clicking on the silo. So if we were to do this, you can change what's stored in it, but we want wood. If a train arrives at a station carrying the resource the silo can hold, workers will fill that silo. Likewise, the train will pick up resources from a silo if it can. Thus, in addition to being able to refuel trains, silos can be used to build transfer stations. One thing I'll note is that the fuels are treated a little bit differently from the other resources, in that trains will only ever drop stuff off at silos, so you can't transfer fuel. You can only transfer other goods. And that's just because if you have trains stopping at a station and picking up all of the fuel that's stored at a silo, other trains may have been relying on that fuel to refuel themselves, and they can run out of fuel and then get stuck. And that's not good. Previously, we had constructed a terminal station where the train would turn around. Let's make this platform roll on, roll off, row for short, which means that the train continues in the same direction after stopping. You can make the track extend out from both sides of the platform as shown in the picture. You can also create a row station at the city and connect the track into a loop so that the city can take deliveries of lumber. Then create a short spur track with a depot as you've done before. This time, make the train have 3 lumber cars instead of wood cars. Okay. So let's that nice. Make a little spur. I mentioned. Just do it like that. Another depot here, and we need some lumber cars. Okay. There's one final touch that's needed to make a railroad station work. A train can only know to stop when it either reaches the end of the track or if it reaches a signal. Create a blue block signal where you want the train to stop at each of the stations you built. In place of the signal, keep in mind that the engine takes one tile ahead of the tender. Right, so there's the engine, then there's the tender, then there's all the other cargo cars. To choose the direction of signals, pay attention to which side of the track your cursor is when you add the signal. If the cursor is centered on the track, then we'll place a bidirectional signal. If the cursor is on the left or right of the track, then the signal will be unidirectional with this direction depending on which side of the track the cursor is. So what that means is that so if you have your signal, so if the cursor is, let's zoom in here, in the middle of the track, then it'll do bidirectional. But if it's on the right hand side, it'll do one direction. The left hand side, it'll do the other direction. And you can see what direction is sort of indicated by this little arrow pointing out. Okay, so we want the trains to go this way. And let's make place for stuff to unload. Make our block signal there. And we should have finished everything there. Finally, hit play to make the trains move, or press space. If there are problems in your design, there may be some error dialogues that pop up showing where the problems are. Stop the simulation by hitting the X button next to the play button, or press escape. Then fix those errors and try again. I think I may have recently changed that behavior actually, so that you don't have to tell it to stop yet. Or errors that happen just at the beginning. So anyhow, when the simulation is running, then the top right corner it shows how much final product has been delivered to the city. Run until all of the required deliveries have been made. Note that this can take a while, so clicking on the speed up buttons helps. So try clicking on the speed up buttons, which can run the simulation up to 1,000 times faster, or press Control Space. The train will not stop at the station until there is lumber to pick up. So if the train skips the station a few times before the whipped delivery arrives, don't worry about that. Okay, awesome. Yeah, we built all that stuff, so let's see our trains actually move. So, as mentioned, the train was sort of like going around in a circle because there's nothing for it to actually do yet. And whereas this train is getting loaded up. All the workers finish loading, so off it goes. Okay, So you can see that the silo is filling up. Here it shows how much storage it has. And that was most of the load actually went there, but the sawmill you can see has a bit of lumber in it. Okay, and it just went onto that train. It's now delivering it. And yes, just to get some more fuel. Check out the status of these things. Right, okay, here's our other train coming along. And if you watch the sawmill, you can see that wood comes in. When it gets to 4 woods, right, so 2 isn't enough, but when it gets to 4, then that will be converted into lumber. But this train has been keeping on picking up the lumber, so it's not able to accumulate. And this, as this is to watch, let's make it go a bit faster. Let's go full speed. And here you can see how close it is to completion. Oh, it got all 2,000. So let me just go a little bit slower. So we got 2 dialogues. Generally, when you complete a level, you'll just get this one, which is that it says that the level is finished. It tells you how much it cost. Stop simulating. Then it has a breakdown of what the costs were, right? So we spent some money on the infrastructure, we spent some money on the trains, but the primary cost is the time. So each simulation tick that takes, so you can think of it as like each minute, for example, that it takes, that's $1. So right now we're dominated by just the time. Okay, so we also have our position on the leaderboard, and you can see it's not too great. There's some people who did better, some people who did worse. All right. So congratulations on completing your first level. Now that that level is complete, you may want to return to the world map to progress in the game. You can find this option by pressing the menu button at the top of the screen or pressing F10. You may also want to replay Bristol and modify your solution to be more efficient. The scores of other players are shown so you can compare against them, but improving your solution is not necessary to progress in the game. Your goal is to deliver all of the goods with the lowest cost possible. If you want to improve your score, a good first step would be to connect all of the remaining industries. So what it's referring to there is, if you look, there's a coal mine, there's a forest. That forest we already used. So is it just 2 forests in the coal mine? Yeah. So there's the remaining industries. So as you may have noticed, the main constraint on how fast we could, deliver things to Bristol was that the lumber wasn't being produced quickly enough, right? So if we were to deliver more wood by connecting this other forest over here, then we would get more lumber to Bristol. Although building infrastructure costs money, time also costs money. So the infrastructure will pay for itself up to a point, right? So if you don't go crazy with the infrastructure, then it's better. It generates your product faster. But there's diminishing returns, so you can potentially spend $1,000 to only save like $10 worth of time, and then that would have been past the point of diminishing returns, like to where it's no longer optimal, right? So the optimal thing is going to be some amount of industry that's not like covering the entire map with trains, as much fun as that would be. But it's not to have like the minimal thing either. All right. So let's go back to the world map. And look at that. Some new stuff happened. I am most impressed with the magnificent railroad that you've constructed in Bristol. Your innovative spirit and dedication to advancing our nation's infrastructure are truly commendable. Such endeavors are essential for the continued progress and prosperity of our great kingdom. Your work not only facilitates the movement of goods and people, but it also exemplifies the remarkable achievements that can be accomplished through vision and hard work. It is pioneers like you who drive the wheels of industry and forge the path to a brighter future for all. I extend my deepest congratulations and heartfelt gratitude for your contributions to the realm. May your endeavors continue to flourish and inspire others. Okay, so wow, we've been addressed by the Queen. Thank you, my lady. It is my greatest honor to receive your recognition. How may I be of further service to you? With the success of your recent projects in mind, I would like to request your expertise and vision in expanding our railroad network to neighboring regions. In particular, Cardiff would benefit from the improved industrial capacity afforded by your rail lines. It is my belief that extending these railways will bring prosperity to more of our people. Your efforts in Bristol have set a high standard. I have every confidence that you will bring the same level of excellence and innovation to this new undertaking. Together, we can ensure that the benefits of modern transportation reach every corner of our realm, fostering a united and thriving nation. Okay, the uncle steps in. Well, there's a side thing, I think. It seems fortune smiles on you again. The Queen herself is impressed by your work in Bristol. That's quite the honor. While this is undoubtedly a good opportunity, Cardiff isn't quite the gold mine some might hope for. You might find that the returns aren't as immediate or as grand as one might wish, but it may be a good stepping stone. Uncle, thank you. I appreciate your advice. Besides remaining in the Queen's good graces, Cardiff is a good business opportunity. Perhaps more lucrative opportunities will avail themselves in the future. All right. So, yeah. We are now able to, here, I'll just close this. We can now play this level, Cardiff. And you can see the color of Bristol has changed. So the color of the cities indicates their state. So Birmingham, London, they're black. That means that they are not playable. If you click on it, it says needs to be unlocked. Bristol has been completed. And what you can also notice is that now that's been completed, the industries in the region that have changed their color from black to white. So that means that they're now usable. So if you click on one of these black ones, the forest, it doesn't do anything. But if we click at this one, look, it has the forest industry things available. So by playing levels, we can unlock more of the world map to be able to do things. All right, and as you can see now in Cardiff, we can enter the level if we want to. Let's check out the rest of what our quest says. So, the industries in the world map are now willing to accept delivery contracts around Bristol. When you complete a level, you can then deliver goods to the city of that region in the world map. If you deliver enough goods, then the region is completely satisfied. if you want to see what industries are associated with which regions of our country, click the regions button in the display options at the top of the screen. However, coal isn't available around Bristol to power the steel smelter. You will need to play the level for Cardiff to gain access to the coal mine in that region. Do this by clicking on Cardiff twice and enter the level. Okay. So, I'm not going to do that right now because I would like to actually continue with Bristol. But to see what it's talking about of the coal mine, so eventually you want to deliver things to the cities, right? So Bristol needs steel, and steel comes from the steel smelter, and you can see that the inputs to make steel are coal and iron. We've got an iron mine right here, but there's no coal. But there is coal over here, which we can't get anything from yet because Cardiff hasn't been completed. Alright, so let's see if we can improve Bristol. So, one of the first things that we can start doing is to connect the other industry, like was suggested. So let's just go ahead and do that. So what we should consider right now is which side or how to load, because the workers have to walk some distance. So depending on the layout, it will actually change how far they walk. I think so. Our options are either do something like this or do something like that. And I think that this is probably going to be better. And so one of the things is I said make kind of a short train, but it's better to make longer trains. I don't actually know exactly what the optimal thing is, but let's say that let's try 6. Do you think 6? We may be picking things up too quickly. Let's make 5. And we'll see. We'll test and adjust as we need to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then over here we need to make our platform long enough to deal with it. So how long is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's more than we need. I don't know how long this will need to be. And yeah, so let's just try that first. So, how are we doing in terms of wood? Okay, oops, we didn't make our train longer. Okay, how are we doing in terms of wood? Okay, so we're still producing wood faster than we're picking it up. So, that's fine. And how is this doing? So it's getting closer to full. It's picking everything up. Alright. And I realize whatever, it's fine. I'd extend this platform, but I didn't need to. So let's run to completion. All right. So you can see that we significantly reduced the amount of time it took to complete. And that we spent like a little bit extra. So here it tells you the difference. So we spent $550 more on the infrastructure, right? Some more tracks, mostly more platforms, some more costs in the trains from the, okay, so I guess it's like 1,050 extra infrastructure costs if you count the trains as infrastructure also. In any case, so we spent about 1,000 more on sort of like the things, but the time was much lower. It was 400,000 lower. So we're nowhere close to diminishing returns yet. Okay, awesome. Well, the next thing that we can do is add another train because we're still producing more wood than we're picking up. So let's double track it. So now we need to talk about signaling. I I think that maybe I've done enough tutorial already in terms of like the reading out the tutorial. There'll be some more. I'll read it out and explain it maybe in more detail then, but right now let's try actually just playing the game for a bit and trying to get an optimal solution. I'll just briefly describe what I'm thinking. So there's block signals, there's free signals, and there's chain signals. So the free signals basically allow trains to go along the track whenever. Like there can be multiple trains in the same block. So we want to put these in our entrances. I'm sorry, our exits. And that our entrances, we need a block. No, sorry, we need a chain signal to tell the trains to wait. And we need a double-sided block signal. So this means that trains can both go in and go out from here. So with this setup, we can now put two trains. Woohoo! And let's just make sure that our signaling all worked. No, it did not. So just to explain what's going on here. So you see, this train tried to come in when this train was already there. So these trains will basically not be able to progress. They're stuck. Because trains can only move forward. So look. Oh no, we're at an impasse. That's no good. So I need to fix my signaling. And basically the issue is that I need to have a chain signal for the train coming out of here. I could do something. Okay, I'll just show. Okay, so if we do a chain signal like this, now the train will wait here. It won't block the exit. So that train goes, and then this train can come in. Very nice. This guy's just been spinning around, and now this will unload. And you see the trains get past each other because we have it double tracked. Awesome. Okay. So delivering all goods was 345. It's better by another like 200,000. So it spent a little bit of infrastructure to get a lot less time. Awesome. And this has put us at the front of the leaderboard. Woohoo! But we can do better. We haven't even connected this other industry. Let's see how we're doing in terms of... Okay, so what we can see here at the sawmill is that... Oh, by the way, it's good to look at things at sort of the end of like, what is the final end state. So you can see that it's built up a bunch of lumber. So it's full to the brim of lumber. That means that this one train carrying the lumber out is not carrying the lumber out fast enough, so it's accumulating. And then once that lumber fills up, here, I'll just restart the simulation. And you can see. So once this lumber fills up, then you'll see that it can't convert any more wood into lumber because there's nowhere to put it. So then the wood starts accumulating. So okay, so the lumber is slowly filling up, sort of fluctuating as it loads and unloads. But you can see that this is growing. Maybe I'll make it faster. So you can see it grows. Then once it's grown, then just the wood comes in and fills up. And then eventually, in sort of the end state, okay, oh, anyhow, so I've, yeah, I mean, it just gets rid of the wood. I forget the details of how I handle when it can't put any more in. But that's something that shouldn't happen unless, like, unless you've fully saturated the industry. Anyhow, we need to pick up the wood faster because that's our rate limiting factor at the moment. How can we do that? Well, one way we could do it is by adding more cars. And this needs to move over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think we actually need a 6th for it to be long enough. Is that right? Yeah, so this lines up perfectly. And looks like we're still not picking it up fast enough. Worse. Oh, it's like how is it not better? It's because there's not enough platforms to unload at. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, by the way, so it's nice to be able, it can load or unload to whatever the closest industry thing is. So because this is an extremely short path, it's kind of nice to try and capitalize on that. So perhaps we should make our train one longer to be able to really pick it up and drop it off fast. So you see, a worker can go a very short distance. A bunch of them can go along parallel. Okay, surely this is better, right? Okay, better by 48,000 basically. All right, we're not getting as massive returns as we used to, but still improving. And oh, look at that. We're picking up the lumber quickly enough that picking up the lumber is no longer the bottleneck. Great. So that means our goal is to make it be the bottleneck. We have this other forest over here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 for the tender. Sweet. Let's... Oh. And this is... I guess a relatively minor thing, but we want to spend as little time in the junctions as possible, so that didn't need to be as long as it was, but it still doesn't need to be that long. Move everything by one more. That might be a small bug. I think it should be able to reverse. Oh well. We'll work around it for the moment. Anyhow, so let's connect this guy over. And then the question is how exactly we connect it. So what we can try doing is doing it on the other side here. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then no, we don't need to pick up fuel here. We're dropping things off. That ought to be good enough. And for the moment, we can do something just as nice and simple. Just have it go back and forth, and then we can build it out as we need. So we want 5 wood, 3, 4, 5. And let's make sure it works. That looks like it works. Let's go a bit faster. Okay, put it by 76,000. Awesome. And it looks like we're still not rate limited by the picking up. So we can deliver more wood. Let's do that. Let's double track it. And so, oops, then and right, let's not make the same mistake again. Do that, we need 2 trains. How's our solid belt doing? Are we keeping up? Oh, look at that. Delivering more lumber. Right. All right, better again. But we know that we're rate limited by this guy. In the tutorial, I had said to make these block signals. I just wanted it to be like, block signals are simplest. Actually, you could have free signals. Because the block signal, there's no contention between trains, so it's fine to have a free signal. This should make 0 difference. Yep. But what we can do here is we can have another train. And theoretically, this should be okay. And so something I should mention about how this works is you see that the trains are not running into each other here. So if a train sees another train directly in front of it on the same piece of track, it won't hit it. But if there's ever a merging or a splitting of tracks, then the train isn't going to be able to see that at the next train in front of it. And so it can potentially run into the next train. So you need to protect junctions with signals. Let's see. Yep, we'll pick up all the lumber. Nice. And better buy another 19,000 about. Awesome. 185,000 we're seeing out here in the front. By the way, the leaderboard, so I had created this high ball and the Dylan. So high ball is maybe, I don't know if it's realistic. It's basically like a pretty bad solution that I made for every level that's sort of like guessing what's like lower bound of what somebody might do. But maybe I shouldn't have something like that. Maybe I should just have like reasonable solutions. Like Dylan is the reasonable solutions. And then the ones Josiah that I'm doing are going to be, I'm playing through and I'm going to try and find actually the best solution I can, or at least a good solution. So the idea was to sort of bracket things with like worst and best, but maybe that's silly. Maybe it should be like average and best or something. Anyhow, when there are more players, then it might just become irrelevant. So, right. Now we're delivering, we're picking up the wood fast enough. So we can see about how can we deliver more wood, or generate more lumber rather. But let's see if we can deliver more wood. So if we run this, okay, so the wood is being generated faster there. What about this one? It's also being generated faster there, that's being picked up. So we can try and pick up more wood. Why not? So let's try 3 trains. Okay, you see the train came back right at about the same time as this one left. So at least for one platform, we've pretty much maximized that. And as you see as well, now I'm picking up the wood faster than it's being generated. Cool. Okay, better buy another 24,000. And oh, I forgot to check. Are we? Yeah, we're picking up some limiting factor. So, have we maximized this? This is as good as we can possibly do. No, it's not. Because there's still this coal mine. It's sitting unused. And if you recall, if we add coal to the sawmill, then we can generate lumber more efficiently for our wood, right? So we're picking up the wood as fast as we can from the forests. If we add some coal, then that will take off pressure from that. It'll generate more lumber. So we should try and hook up a coal train. Okay, so let's do something. Doesn't have to be the best thing. We can always iterate on this and improve it. So let's, I don't know how long it should be. Oh, I need to put a bridge connecting it. Oops. And this. And let's do 5 on train. 2, 3, 4, 5. Like under. I don't actually know if that's the optimal length, but 6 works so far. I need to try playing with that. Okay, so this train, we need to select to have a coal engine. So there's 3 different engine types: wood, coal, oil, and they go progressively faster. And they obviously use different fuels. So we're going to a coal mine, so it's natural to fuel our train with coal. And we're saying 5 cargo cars. Failed turning around. Can't reverse the more than in more than one track segment. So what you can see this guy is sticking out the end. I didn't make my back segment straight. I mean, my straight track segment long enough. So, oops, do that. There, should be long enough now. I wonder if this one's long enough. It should be. That's more long enough. Okay. Let's go back to our default orientation. Oh, by the way, so I have this 2D orientation that makes it just a pure top-down view, which might be easier to see, like laying things out, and 3D sort of offset isometric view, which looks a little prettier. So I like the 3D one, and then you can use the middle mouse button to like choose any angle that you want. Anyhow, so now that we're delivering coal, we're producing lumber faster, as described. And oh man, we're not even keeping up with it. We're not picking up our lumber fast enough. Alright, so that was better by another 32,000. So we're doing pretty well right now. Since the lumber is our limiting factor, I'm going to make, let's see here, actually it doesn't even make sense to just add another train. So it's waiting here. So one of the problems is that you see it unloads faster than it loads because it's having a really short distance for all the workers to unload. Whereas here, it's kind of a long distance I have to walk. So, how could we improve this? One potential way would be, I don't think we actually have the optimal path here. We can make another bridge here. And put this guy over here, and perhaps scoot this whole section over. Is that the same distance? I don't know. I'm not sure if scooting it over is useful. Let's just see. Is it better? That's a little bit better. But was that necessary to scoot this whole thing? What happens if we just... Worse. Okay. Wait, worse. Oh. didn't undo enough. Okay, same as best. So pick that back. I guess let's just stick with that then. Were we still rate limited? Yeah, we're not picking up the lumber fast enough. Yeah, we made our tracks slightly shorter, so that was better. But we need to pick it up even faster. So we can try extending this to another platform to load from, is my current thought. And these trains are just like zooming around a bunch of times at the beginning. This does not have to be there. Like having the shortest possible distance. Oopsie. What did I do there? Having the shortest possible distance from the depot to here doesn't make sense if they go like around 5 times. So let's just make another track here. And we need to load from a platform, so I need to move that a little bit. That looks fine. Are these too close? I don't know. We'll find out if I get an error. So, okay, we need an exit. This should be actually a merging junction. So we need to have block signals coming into here. And then we need a chain signal to select between which of the platforms we'll load into. And we can have a block signal here coming in. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And put our bridges in the same places. And let's try with the 2 trains first. A segment with 0 length, or well, too short of a length. Okay. What's complaining about here is that I have this signal too close. Okay, that ought to work. Okay, these weren't too close apparently. Okay. So now we gotta talk about why are the trains coming here. Just because this distance here is shorter. So these don't have to be symmetric. Make it a little bit clearer. This is still a short distance at this track. So what I can do is scooch this over here, and it will go the shortest distance preferentially. And this is actually important. This is an intended thing, so that you can choose, based on how you place your signals, the priority of the platforms to load from. So even though the train has to go a longer distance to get to this platform, you want to preferentially go to this one because it's closer to the industry. So we can adjust the signals to control that. So now you see the trains go to this platform. Let's just slow it down so that you can see the prettiness of industry, our workers, all busy bees. Worse. Oh my gosh. How's it worse? Time taken was worse. What's going on with that? Let's watch this guy. What's he do? So what might be happening? So these workers have to walk a longer distance to get to this train here. So it may actually have been more efficient for the train to wait to get to the fast platform than to spend time loading at the slow platform. So So that may be solved by just adding another train. Because then, yeah, something's loading at the slow platform, but another one will come and load from the fast platform. So that's just maybe because this isn't fully saturated with trains. Oh, train crash. Oh no. Oh no. So how do we solve this? The problem is that we have no... I think this is the first time you've seen a train crash. Look at that. So this is why we have to bother with the signals in the first place. And so the simplest way to deal with this is to put a block signal coming into this. Okay, so it's still spending time with this platform not being used. So we might need more trains. Except then oh no, it's... Okay, so the problem now is that the trains are accumulating here. So this is backing up. We're not unloading fast enough for the trains to come over here and reload. What's going on? And we're not... Okay, we have a bit of problem. So this, when the train comes here, it's not picking up fuel. And here, it's not unloading. And I actually need to move this. It can't load from a joint. So there's a little bit of issue there. Okay, we're loading everything up. That's nice. Better by 7,000. Oh man, all that and 7,000 better. Okay, well, better nothing. At least this guy's waiting. And we're not picking up that lumber fast enough. Okay, so that suggests, doesn't it, that we need to have another platform to unload at. Make that a really short distance? No. Wow. Oops, we need that. Okay. Right, so is that all set properly? I think so. We need to look at platforms. And let's put a bridge on every piece. Let's minimize that distance. There's a track that was too tight of a curvature. Oh. Curvature was 1.508, which is 8 thousandths too high of curvature. Okay, well, need to not be so curvy. Is that less curvy? Yes. Oh, I have these unrealistic bends. You can make something like, you know, crazy eventually, and then, yeah, it's gonna complain like that's way too high curvature. No hairpins. So, let's see if this solves our problem. And again, see, I made this a short distance of this to work on a better platform. Okay, see, they're not backing up now. Better by another 3.5 thousand. Nice. Awesome. So, what do we look like here? We're picking up the lumber fast enough. So that's good. So, and we're not oversaturating with wood. We're converting it fast enough. Now, the question I have is, how are we doing in terms of coal? It looks like there's no coal. Right, so that could mean that we don't have enough coal for the amount of wood. Well, it's hard to say. Let's see. If that runs down before the train gets here again, that means that we need more coal. Yeah, it's 0 coal, and the train isn't there yet, so we need more coal. Okay, well, simple solution, right? Add another coal train. And this is going to be the same pattern as before. Start to recognize them, don't you? So we have the exit signal there. Exit signal, change signal, two-way signal. This could all scoot in closer. And let's put the second coal train. Do we need 2? Do we need 3? Let's find out. Fail to turn on. I swear that I had fixed this at some point. Guess it doesn't look like this. See, likewise. That was enough, but this is enough. There's something a bit buggy there. Okay, better buy another 2,000. Amazing. And look, oh, we are oversaturated with coal. Okay. So, let's just check again. What's our... yeah, we still are not picking up the lumber fast enough. I'm sorry, we're picking up the lumber fast enough still. So, we could theoretically deliver more wood. Oh yeah, let's check what's the wood status. Wood, okay, we don't have enough wood. But we can potentially deliver more coal to the forests to generate more wood. So let's do that. I don't know what's the most efficient way to do this. Perhaps we should just deliver to the close forest first. So this is the 2D orientation thing, because now your like selection boxes align with the grid. Helpful. should be good. Let's see. Let's point to for the 3D view. Cool. And let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see how that goes. And we can potentially deliver more lumber to the coal mine to generate more coal. So if coal becomes a limiting factor, we could take the lumber from the sawmill over to the coal mine. Wait. Okay. Oh, look at that. Look at that wood. Oh, wait. We're doing worse. Why are we doing worse? We still have enough coal. So our time wasn't any better. Perhaps our issue is we're not picking up the wood fast enough from the forest. So, what happens if another train? Still worse. So the time taken was better. So it was in fact faster. It's just that the amount of time that we saved didn't pay for the infrastructure. So we saved about 2,000 minutes, let's call it. So $2,000 from time. It cost somewhere north of 6,000 though, so the net deficit was around 4,000. So we might be hitting our limits where the infrastructure is actually not paying for itself. Let's see here. Where is the cost coming from? Mostly from tracks and the train. So what that's saying is that just making the train cheaper won't necessarily save us that much, because the tracks are a large fraction of that expense. But we can try. Let's get rid of a couple of cars. What happens? What's our coal mine doing also? Yeah, so we are consuming all of the coal out of it, but that wasn't the problem because we actually have a surplus of coal over here. And it's even worse than before. Okay. Well, that looks like it was a failed experiment. I'm not sure that we'll ever be able to pay for the extra cost of tracks. So one thing we could think about is if the tracks are the problem, we don't actually need those tracks, right? Because we have trains already going over to the sawmill and these tracks, so you don't really need to like make a connection between them. Okay, so I'm going to reload my best. I didn't mention this before, but it automatically saves whatever your best solution is with underscore best, and whatever the last thing you were looking at when you leave a level or something is current. So what we could try doing is making some sort of hookup between here. How to do that? So maybe sometimes the train just comes over here. And sometimes a train just comes over here. So let's move our signals. Okay. Okay. So what I will do, so now I need to start looking at the routing. So right now, this coal train will go everywhere. Well, perhaps we should just see what happens. No, we shouldn't. What I'd like to do is have most of the coal trains go over here and provide for the sawmill. Now let's just try having then a separate one that goes over to the forest. So, so I'll just say that this train always goes there. Oh, wait, to the routing mode again. So our wood train should always just go here. Maybe let's just confirm that that works correctly. So these are routes of interest. They should remain separate. Okay, looks like it's working. So let's see if we can add another coal train. Okay. And we'll put that here, and let's 5. And see, this is not so well named. Let's call it coal delivery. And I can change its color. Be that, sure, why not? Now, we want this guy to go over here, and then to go back. So let's just see all of the routes. So these are the 3 routes in question. So one will go between the 2 tracks, and then those stay where they're going. Nice. Okay, great. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Is that's not call delivery. Are you call delivery? Should be, I guess, right? Alternating. All right. It's kind of annoying seeing the route on there. All right, go deliver. So now it's kind of taking up the time that could be spent loading, but this was being loaded from too quickly in the first place anyhow, so maybe that's fine. So, how does it work out in the end? Do we wind up with too much wood? Because now we're generating wood faster and we're picking it up slower because there's fighting over the track. What is this doing? Obviously we're picking up all the coal. We still have enough coal, even though we're diverting it some. So maybe this will work out. We'll see. Worse by 6,000. Oh, I was hoping that it would work out better than that, but okay, so what's the issue? Okay, I'm not giving up quite yet. Because I am preventing trains from picking up stuff that they were picking up before. So let's try putting a second station here. Or not a second station, a second platform. Yeah, whatever. And seeing as how we had the problems before. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. That's. Okay, sorry, I can't move the signals unless I'm in route mode. Okay, so that's left also. Okay. Okay. So we have our issue. So wood, I don't want to go over there. So I'm going to say just go to this platform and coal delivery. Don't interfere with the wood pickup. Just go over here. Okay, coal train. Yeah, so you went over there. As you should. Where's by 3,000? Darn. Okay, well, that was a failed experiment, but at least you understand, maybe seeing this, how you do routing. Maybe it'll work better for you in terms of actually getting a benefit. So, okay, let's go back to our best. Fine. That's our best. Yay, same as best. So, one thing that I am considering is that the tracks are the most expensive part, except for the trains. So, what I'm wondering is if we actually need full double tracking, because it's just like a thing There's like just a terminal station. So let's do single tracking. So I need something long enough for a train to fit. So basically what this works, how this works is that there's a block signal on either end going into this. So only one train can go on it, but they can go either direction. See, so once that train had come and cleared a path, then the other train could go. So this guy's waiting until this train comes over. It's out of the shared path. Once it's gone, then this train can go. Okay, so that's how you single track with multiple trains. Let's see if it's any better. Worse. Oh man. And presumably all in time did not pay for the infrastructure savings. Okay. So there's another thing that we can try, which is we're delivering coal here. Why not use that coal in trains? We can change all of these maybe to wood trains. Sorry, to coal trains. So the trains will now pick up the coal from here. Oh, these guys need to pick up. I think that one will still work. Okay. We don't need these guys either. So all this can scoot over by 1. All this can scoot over by 1. Because oh wait, no. They just don't need a station. They still have a tender, so I can't shorten the track. Okay, are we picking up our fuel? I think so. Okay, so the coal trains are also faster than the wood trains, so it makes this idea of single tracking a bit more efficient because there's less time for the trains waiting on each other going across this shared section. Worst by 111. Oh, come on. It's almost better. Okay. I don't want to give up on this just yet. Oh, maybe I should. Okay. Fine. We'll double track it. Is that better? We just have the coal trains. Worst by 1,600. It's somewhat slower. That's the only real difference in cost. Okay. How about, okay, so this is another thing that you can do, is we can make this wait till this they actually pick up. So that excuse me. Wait on that. Wait, was that like that? Okay. Yeah, just waiting now. So the idea is that these guys won't pick up the coal. Like maybe they were consuming too much coal and something bad was happening because of that. Of course. Hmm. Okay, well, best. I may have reached about as good as I can do. Let's try something that doesn't have the trains wait for such a long distance. So let's try this. Um, is this better? Maybe I just did the wrong one. Ooh, better. Amazing. Okay. So single tracking can be better. Maybe this was just too long. So there's other things I can try then, if that's the case. Let's try this guy. Okay, that's going to be too high curvature. This guy also perhaps not ideal. Okay, how about this? Better. Better by 395. Okay, so if the issue is just that this is too long, we can try cutting it some more. We don't have to double track it. Or sorry, we don't have to single track it the whole way. We could have a passing station in the middle. So let's just because these things aren't like going straight along in the grid, they don't always line up beautifully. Okay, that's pretty decent looking. All right, let's make our signaling. Okay. So maybe that's better. I just wonder I make these things long enough. Oh, I didn't make it long enough. Not long enough. Okay. Is that long enough? Looks like it. The other ones should be long enough for sure. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so see they have a nice little crossing point in the middle. So maybe this will be a bit more efficient. Where's by 251? Oh, man. It's just not meant to be. So, okay, look, there's no train immediately coming in. So that's not good enough. I think I might need more trains. That's too many trains. Worse. Okay, well, I at least had some partial success with my single tracking, but it looks like maybe just with these long guys. Maybe it's just more efficient for long guys. So how's this? 12,155. Can I not do any better? Okay. One question. So I'm pulling out the wood too fast, right? Like there's enough wood for me. So I could potentially make things more efficient. Did I? I can make my chains a little cheaper and shorter. I'll have to turn around. No, why? Just bug again. See, the thing is, you want to consume all the wood, but just barely. Worse. Nope. Okay. Well, I think I may have reached my limit. I've tried just about everything I can think of. And we've got a thriving little industry, happy little town here. All right, I'm gonna call it there. So if you think you can do better, then I'll see you on the leaderboards. Like I said before, let me just go. Like I said before, If you want to try out the game, then you want to try doing some beta testing, you can join my Discord. And if you just want to play the game when it's released, then go ahead and wishlist the game on Steam. The game will be free whenever I release it also, so yeah, you can try it out with no cost to yourself. I hope you enjoyed.